as all the nonsense from the European Super League talk dies down, the rest of Europe will try and get on with it this weekend. It is the business end of domestic seasons all across, well, everywhere really. And let's start in Germany, where they had match day 30 happening over midweek. And here are some of the big results. Bayern Munich beating Leverkusen 2-0. They open up a 10-point lead at the top. On Tuesday night, Arminia Bielefeld beat Shalke 1-0, which means that Shalke are relegated. And I understand that the following day, all the staff and players were attacked by rotten eggs, Craig Marias, because that is the way you deal with relegation.
Well, I think with Schalke, it's a little bit different. It wasn't too long ago that they were in European football. I think, was it 2 years ago? And it's been quite
Raul was playing for them. Can you believe that? Now
that wasn't 2 years ago then. but
I mean, what I meant was Raul used to play for Schalke.
So yeah. Back in the day, yeah.
They say they're like the second biggest supported club in Germany, right, behind Bayern. So I've been to the stadium. It's magnificent. Yeah, I mean, it's big. It's like a Newcastle going down or something.
Which we've seen then.
Which nearly happens nearly every season.
No, but it is one of those things. I think, where the club were, a few years ago to where they've ended up now, and I think the question is, how did it all go so wrong? And I think it's just poor management appointments. I think they got David Wagner in, didn't they?
Yeah.
Over at Schalke.
He had one win, I think, and that was it.
Well, there you go. Like after his performances for Huddersfield, and obviously that didn't go well, and it's just been downhill really for Schalke, and the fans are obviously a passionate bunch, like you said, a very good support behind them, and relegation like this, something like this was always going to happen, and I think if it was a club that when we compare it to England and say, when it's a club that always flirts around that relegation kind of area, your Palaces or, your Burnleys or whatever it is, right? Yes, fans will be angry and, there'll be some type of backlash. But when it's just 2 years ago, when you were competing and you were right at the top end of the table to where you are now, I think that's quite hard to take for the fans, and there's obviously something that they're not going to accept. But yeah, it's sad for the Bundesliga because they lose a big club in Schalke.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Bundesliga is probably the only place where we don't actually mention the European Super League. The German clubs wisely stayed away from it all. Yeah, I know Des want to bring up RB Leipzig, but we'll leave that for now. We'll leave that and concentrate on Bayern Munich. Bob, they're nearly there again. Ninth consecutive title they're going for. 2-0 win against Bayer Leverkusen. Leipzig slipped up at home to Cologne. So and our favorite player, Eric Maxim Choupo-Moting, scored again.
Yeah, more than a good bloke, isn't he? But Bayern, yeah, 9. 9 is the number, eh? We mentioned it last week. No one ever gets 10. So it'll be interesting to see whether Bayern can beat that theory next season. But they are a class above, and I don't think they were even approached by the Super League because they knew what the answer would be. I mean, even Leipzig, they were obviously the most likely candidate to join, being owned by a company. And they're one of the exceptions to the rule of the 50+1 rule where fans have the final say. But I don't think they would have dared to join, actually, because they already get enough hatred from the other fans anyway, as it is, let alone joining a Super League. So German football, I think, looked on maybe a little bit bemused by the goings on of the Super League, but I think they can content themselves on thinking, well, we're glad we've got our house in order and we haven't got any of this upheaval, and they can just continue. But what it does mean, someone like Schalke, you would say, well, why don't they just go and buy some better players or something? But the thing is, in Germany, it's not that easily done because they haven't got the money. Bayern is really the only club that's got any money to throw around. So because of this structure, and that's why I don't think it would work in England, because although there is room for businessmen to put money into the club, the fans actually have the final say. And you cannot run a club. You need billions. You need to be a billionaire, don't you, to be a top club these days.
In the romantic idea of club ownership, private and fans. And
the fans are never going to, unless you get a whole bunch of billionaires among the fans. It's never going to happen. So
Conor McGregor can't buy every club, Bob. Come on.
It isn't as easy to solve a situation like Schalke's. You can't just throw money at it. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
But it was a breakdown. I did a bit of research on it. They just, the technical director fell out with the sporting director. Then they sacked the manager. There were personality clashes. And each new manager that came in never stood a chance. David Wagner, he performed a miracle in England. I mean, to take Huddersfield up into the Premier League and keep them there for a season, that was one of the great managerial performances of modern times. He's not a bad manager, but he couldn't do it at Schalke.
All right. Here is your top six in Germany. Bayern, 10 points clear at the top. They're all fighting for the little spots. Look how far Dortmund are away from the top four. 4 points away. The weekend's fixtures. And Des Corkhill, the big one, I guess, is Dortmund third against, Wolfsburg third against Dortmund fifth. Dortmund are packed full of potential world superstars. And they need the Champions League every season to keep these boys happy, to keep them in the shop window, to keep the prices high. That's the way they do the business there, right?
Kind of. Wolfsburg have quietly gone about their business as well, though. They've had a good season. I think it's 16 wins. Not the most entertaining team, Wolfsburg, but defensively very, very sound. Best defense in the league? Oh, no, Leipzig, best defense. But they've only conceded about 30 goals, Wolfsburg. So it's they're based on solidity. And so it'll be test for superstar Haaland, who was touting himself around as a $1 million a week man not so long ago. Every club would benefit from being in the wealth of the Champions League. I don't know why we've got this particular affiliation to Dortmund. Maybe it's the bright yellow. Maybe it's I don't know what the love for Dortmund is all about.
Surely you more than anyone. They sing "You'll Never Walk Alone," for goodness sake.
That's a good reason not to support them. Appropriated something that we appropriated ourselves. So let's talk about Wolfsburg, and let's get one of the more well organized, quieter teams. There's very few histrionics, and let's get more teams playing into the top table of European football. I think that would be the story. So if Dortmund have got all these superstars and they're investing in the superstars, and their model is to actually sell these potential players, develop the players and sell, sometimes it'll go wrong because young players generally don't win you things. And that's what's happening there. So this is a season definer for Dortmund. As you say, 4 points off Frankfurt, 5 points off Wolfsburg. Frankfurt themselves, who Frankfurt got? They
Leverkusen, sixth place. So
okay, Leverkusen have fallen off the place. So it's good. It's a good league. It's a good way to end the season because Bayern are so far ahead. But even Bayern, 85 goals they've scored. They've scored in every single game. They're romping away with the title, 10 points clear, and they're still likely to change their coach at the end of the year.
All right.
He's leaving by choice, though, isn't he?
Yeah.
He is, but there's all kinds of politics going on in the background.
That's usual at Bayern Munich. I think you get that with every manager.
Go on,
They're
Bayern.
the stable club. They're the stable club, and there's
No,
like,
go on, Bayern. Get Jose, please. Get Jose. All right. Here are your fixtures in the Bundesliga this weekend. Wolfsburg against Dortmund, Mainz against Bayern, Leverkusen against Frankfurt, and Leipzig against Stuttgart. On to the Italian league we go, where they too had a midweek round. Match day 32 happened over midweek. Here are the results. Verona lost at home to Fiorentina. The surprise there was Sassuolo, who must be the surprise team in the season, winning at AC Milan just when Zlatan signed an extension to his contract. How dare they? Spezia held Inter Milan to a 1-1 draw, but it means Inter are one step closer to the title. Juventus beat Parma 3-1. Roma-Atalanta was a Thursday night Friday game. That was 1-1. And Inter Milan, nearly there, Bob Holmes. They're very nearly there. Antonio Conte, I think 10 years since they last won the title. Worthy champions?
Oh, yes, I think so. 10-point margin. I don't think we can argue about that, can we? We spoke about Antonio Conte last week. Interestingly, built on quite a few Premier League rejects in one way or another. But his 2 years in the Premier League taught him a few things, and I think he's done remarkably well. He's not the most popular guy, doesn't always get on with the directors or the players, but he's got the magic touch to win trophies in different countries in his first season. First season back in this case. Absolutely great. The only thing he hasn't done is Europe. That remains to be conquered, but they'll be in the Champions League next season. So I think it's looking as if Napoli might squeeze in there, thanks to their 5-2 win last night against Lazio. So the two Roman teams might miss out, Roma and Lazio, but they're usually in the Europa League. It seems a little bit strange. The capital city doesn't actually have the best teams in Italy, but Milan is really the football capital of Italy, and Rome is the historic capital.
Turin will have a few things to say about that.
Well, Turin as well, but Milan, of course, with two teams. I think
Turin will have something to say about that. Torino will have something to say about that.
We're talking about major teams. Torino were the number one team before the plane crash, 1948, I think. Wiped out the entire team. It was more devastating than Munich was to Man United even. And they've never recovered. Unlike United, they've never been a top team again. Absolutely devastating. So I do sympathize with them, having to play second fiddle to Juventus, especially. But clear-cut thing. The only rather like the Premier League. The winner is romping away with it, but an interesting battle for the other places.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the top six, and there is a 10-point lead from Inter to Milan. But then you've got a massive fight. Four clubs fighting for 3 spots, Craig. AC Milan have always been the front runner. In fact, they had a healthy lead over 3rd, 4th, and 5th not too long ago. It's all been whittled away now. And this weekend, they're away at 6th place Lazio, who are also in pretty good form. How do you see that one going?
Yeah, I mean,
got to win, right, Milan?
Sorry?
They have to win, Milan.
They have to, yeah. And like you mentioned, it's so tight at the top for those Champions League spots. All 3 spots are available there, and you've got 5 teams that are going for it. So I just feel that Milan have come off the boil massively. And I can't put my finger on what it is, because if you go back a few months ago, they were neck and neck with Inter at the top. And they it looked like it was going to be a really good battle for the Serie A title, come towards the end of the season, and hasn't really worked out like that for Milan. Yes, Inter have dropped points here and there as well during that time, but I mean, Milan have come off the boil completely. It's allowed the teams around them to kind of catch up with them, while Inter have been winning games. And you look at that, and then you see the game against Lazio coming up, and you just can't see a team like Milan in form. No matter what's at stake, it's the business end of the season. They shouldn't be racking up these points and trying to. Don't be surprised if you see them fall off. I wouldn't be. I mean, I've seen it. I mean, I give Milan a lot of credit, this season, because they were nowhere. The last few years they've just been almost non-existent. In terms of the top ends of Serie A. However, they've really turned it around this season with Pioli in charge, and they've made a few good signings. They've kind of got a few good youngsters that have come in, and they, like I said, started really well, and it looked like it was going to be a good battle. But yeah, I just can't see it towards the business end of the season. They look tired. They look lethargic. I've got to go with Lazio on this.
All right. Atalanta are arguably the form team in Italy. They could end the weekend in 3rd place. They take on Bologna. Elsewhere, Inter, Verona, Torino, Napoli, Lazio, Milan, and Fiorentina, Juventus. That's your Serie A. On to La Liga we go, where in Spain they also had a midweek round of matches. Real Madrid closed the gap, in fact went top for a little while, if I'm not mistaken. They won 3-0 at Cadiz on Wednesday morning. And then on Thursday, Atletico Madrid beat Huesca. Barcelona beat Getafe 5-2. So it is still a 3-horse race in Spain at the moment. But Fiorentino Perez, will he bother about La Liga, Des, you reckon? Will he be at the ESL office?
Of course he will. Of course he will. And it's been very difficult for me, because I've been so anti-Atletico Madrid up until the last week that I've got to be anti-Real Madrid now, plus the fact they're not going to pull out the Champions League. So it's deciding who your favourite Spanish team is interesting. Atletico, they stumbled, but they got themselves a good victory over Huesca. It wasn't the most convincing goals late in the first and the second half, so it keeps them clear at the top. Barcelona look to be the team in form as far as I'm concerned. That 5-2 against Getafe, with Messi playing a 1-2 off the post for one of his goals. He is a remarkable player, Messi, isn't he? He is just sensational. Top scorer again in Spain. Barcelona, they've got the cup. They're $1.5 billion in debt, and they're still like the possibility of making it into winning the double of league and cup. Great battle. This is exactly what you want to see. I just hope the best football team wins.
Yeah, even Sevilla with an outside chance. They're in 4th and a point off Barca. Barca, though, do have that game in hand. And Bob Holmes, they are also the Copa del Rey winners. And Des is right. Leo Messi, that Argentinian chap, he's come good again.
Yeah, but can he do it on a cold night in Stoke?
This is it, isn't it?
I mean, it's looking as if more and more likely that he'll stay, I think. But people are just basing that on the fact that he's playing well. And Barcelona are doing well. He's scoring goals. He looks happy. But his contract is up. And the question is, he is rather highly paid. Unless he agrees to take a massive cut in salary. I mean, he can afford it, obviously. But, will he? I mean, he's got an entourage. He's got an agent. His dad is very influential anyway. And will the Lionel Messi empire be prepared to take the sort of cut that Barcelona would like to impose upon him to keep him? Or would he be tempted by Man City and to have a shot at playing in another league? With Pep Guardiola, obviously, the main attraction there. So this is still to be decided. He's not said anything. The assumption is that he'll stay, but purely, as I say, purely on the fact that they're doing well and he's scoring, and he's still got it. Yeah. This is the thing. He's still got it. He could, if he came to City, yes, I think he could do it on a cold night in Stoke, except that Stoke are in the second tier now.
Let's put that question that Bob's just posed to Craig. Does Leo Messi doesn't have to prove anything to anyone as far as football goes. But do you think you've seen Ronaldo go into different leagues. He's done it there. He's done it everywhere. Does Leo Messi have to move and will and should Barcelona do absolutely everything to make sure that he stays?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one. He doesn't have to move. I think, what is he now, 34, 35? He doesn't have to. The one thing that I would say is this was a move that if he really wanted to kind of see what's out there and experience the kind of thing in the kind of level and intensity in other leagues, it's a move that he should have done in his prime, when he was 28. I mean, even at 28, he had already achieved everything that he needed to in Spain and with Barcelona. And I think maybe that move could have been done, that far back. However, I always like, good players, great players to be one club men. And I think, just going to City, will it tarnish his reputation? Probably not. I mean, he'll go down as the greatest player of all time, probably. But if he doesn't do it in the Premier League at 34, 35, it just blemishes his reputation and his CV that little bit. I mean, you can't take away, what a great footballer he has been, but they will always say, oh, but he went over to England and he could never do it there. And it's not quite the same. I mean, he went when he was a lot more older and the intensity is a little bit different. Like I said, if he made this move in his prime, it would have been perfect. And we could have seen, a prime Lionel Messi playing at that level. So I'd like him to stay at Barcelona. I know it's going to cost an arm and a leg. They'll have to move heaven and earth to keep him. The key in this is obviously Laporta. If he comes back in, and he's got a lot of mess to clean up at that club. But in saying that, I think this is a season where Koeman deserves a lot of credit. Somehow, in the midst of all this mess, he's managed to kind of keep them competing for the league. Yeah. He's made them, obviously win a trophy already. And what a success this season will be. If he manages to win the league. And I think there was a lot of speculation about his job, saying when Laporta comes in, Koeman will be out of the job. Now, don't put it past Spanish clubs to sack managers, even if they win titles, as we've seen with Del Bosque in the past. But I don't think the fans will be coming out and saying it's the wrong decision and protesting outside the club. But for the football world, everyone's going to be like, well, is that the right move you should be making? Give him the benefit of the doubt at least. But yeah, for me, Lionel Messi stays at Barcelona.
Who knows? Anyway. And Leo might actually speak up for Koeman. But if the Leo move didn't work out well, Man City would loan him out to PSG in January, and he'll blow away the French league, and then he'll get those stats back up again.
And we're back to the obscenity of financing football. Perfect circle. This is one of the issues we've happily talked about. Obscene wages. Yes, he's a wonderful player, but these are obscene wages. That's he's on the salary of a small country, for heaven's sake. So there needs to be some kind of sanity, and it's got to be self-regulated sanity. I'm against governments or UEFA or people coming in and saying, you must not do it. But nobody has had control. Barcelona $1 billion in debt, largely because they're paying ridiculous amounts of money. Look at what they paid for Coutinho. Look at the wages that they're getting.
Griezmann.
And you ask them to self-regulate. Of course they won't self-regulate, because Real Madrid won't self-regulate, or so-and-so won't self-regulate. So we've got to spend. So we've got to crap on other teams, other leagues, other people, just so we can spend. It's me. And exactly what you've said there. We talk about it happily, and that is the obscenity that I've been railing against for years and years and years. We start off by saying, oh, isn't it obscene? We end up by saying, oh, isn't he a great player? Wouldn't it be great if he went somewhere? We carry some of the can for.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Fans are culpable, whether indirectly or whatever. 100%. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Here's your top 7 in La Liga. Top 7 because Villarreal is level on points with Betis. So fight for the Europa League spots. You've got fight for the title. It is all on. And here are your fixtures for the weekend. Madrid in 2nd against Betis in 6th. Villarreal against Barcelona. Could be quite funny because Villarreal have been pretty good form recently. Sevilla against Granada, Bilbao against Atletico, and Eibar bottom against 5th place Real Sociedad. That's about it, I think, for the outlook at European football. Not too much moaning from the gentleman, which is very good. So we're all going to go to the weekend happy. Thanks to Bob Holmes, to Craig Marias, and to Des Corkill. We all wish you a great weekend. Bye now.